Hi guys, how are you all getting on? Or not? So I had to do some shopping this morning, and it over the last kind of, I guess, couple of weeks really, it's become so painfully obvious to me how incredibly tough it is for soul travelers in this world, you know. It really is, in so many ways, in every imaginable way. Not just because of all the theories and all the conspiracy theories or conspiracy realities, or all the stuff that is in the food, that's in the skies, that's happening here and happening there, and you go into Facebook and you're bombarded with images of horrific cruelty to nature, animals, people, etc., etc. Give money to this charity, you know, sign this petition, and you know, care about this, you should care about this, you should constantly look at these images of horror, and because if you don't, then you're a bad person and you have no empathy, and you have to love all the people and tolerate their behavior, because if you don't, you're a bad person, you're an empath, and being an empath means that you accept everything without judgment. You know, the idea of infinite unconditional love has been completely misconceived. Well, I don't even know the word for that at the moment, really. I'm too tired, guys, you know, I barely had any sleep. It's just all manipulated all the time. It's the whole experience that I've just had of this friend of mine dying slowly. And just sitting there when there were other people present who are basically what I'd class NPCs, or organic portals, call them what you will, with just mass consciousness. And there was a semi-connection there, if even for a short while. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny hint of something. But then it all goes back to the fear, because you see, this is what I sense, is that these people, today, for example, sorry, I'm rambling on a bit, but today I had to go into a shop. There was something in there. It was a charity shop, as they're called here in England, like a thrift store, you know. And I saw a lampshade there that I really wanted, so I went in there. And the people, the women, the volunteers in this shop, whoa, my fucking God. I mean, just that consciousness, that mass consciousness, it's so thick you can literally cut it with a knife. No, you probably couldn't actually. It's that thick. You couldn't even. It's like stone. It's like set in stone, which is why this world and everything in it seems set in stone. You know, because we're still sort of here, aren't we? And you know, that feeling that you get, like, well, but I've done all this work internally, and yet here I am again, and nothing is moving. You know, that's a feeling we're getting lately. It's like nothing is happening, nothing is moving, which isn't true. But those women in there were just a perfect example of that type of consciousness. Tumbleweeds. But there was more to it, I sensed. There's almost like a fear. I think it's afraid of us. You know? They are. And I don't think that this is an individual thing, because they clearly do not have any awareness. They do not have awareness. They're just automatons. They're just fillers. That's all they are. But this hive mind, which is somehow controlled by something, and I've no idea where or what it is. I mean, there are many people claiming to know. that it's this or it's that or it's AI or it's the demiurge, and I'm not even going to go there because I simply don't know. But whatever dark, nefarious, I suppose I tend to call it the dark generator, actually. It's definitely a dark, nefarious, energetic thing that lives through these creatures, which is why they're called portals, because it comes in and works through them. Now, I used to sense kind of like a animosity of them, rancor, a kind of like meh. But now it's different. Now it's fear almost. It's fear. There's like an awareness, not a personal awareness, but a hive awareness of our presence, or what I experience as my presence, me being there, me being my own assertive self. Because boy, oh boy, that's dumb. It was like, I wasn't sure that the lampshade was going to fit, so I said to her, I like this lampshade, I want to buy it, but I'm not sure it's going to fit. Could you try it on the lamp fitting up there? Oh, we can't do that. Why can't you do that? Oh, health and safety says we can't do that. Do you see what I mean? How dumb is that? So it took me a while to kind of work out with them that yes, I was going to buy the lamp, I was going to pay cash for it, but then if it wasn't going to fit here, then I could take it back and get a full refund. It was like, but that took forever, and it was like an uphill struggle. You see, and that shit triggers us, doesn't it? It brings up all kinds of crap within us. Like, why do I have to exist in this obstructionist environment? And these OPs, they are that environment. Not in a, I am a conscious being and I am obstructing you, ha ha. Not like that at all. It is literally just like a hive thing. There is no individuation there at all whatsoever. So I don't tend to take it that personal at all, because it just that just doesn't suit my purposes. You know, that just makes me feel like a victim, and I don't want to go there because that disempowers me, and I'm not into that anymore at all. However, it triggers me in a massive way, and it brings up a shitload of rage, and then yes, I do feel like a victim, because it's like, well, you're stuck in this fucking world where at every opportunity you are confronted by the utter stupidity of mass consciousness. Nothing fucking works. Nothing works. You go to the doctor, they give you the worst advice. They give you fucking poison, which will make you sicker. Like my friend, who had prostate cancer. And it wasn't very far advanced at all. In fact, it was only at the very beginning stages. And it was like, and he got a urinary tract infection. I know, see, he knows too. Huh? And they gave him antibiotics that didn't work. So they gave him other antibiotics that didn't work. So they gave him more antibiotics, which did work for a little bit. And then it was back. No doubt because of the fucking antibiotics, right? Because antibiotics are killers. They totally destroy your body's ecosystem. All by design, because there are natural ways to overcome physical infections, and your body really actually should fight infections, but for some reason our bodies don't fight infection. Now that is meaningful. Anyway, so then he had a biopsy, and it was after he had that biopsy that everything just went tits up. Everything just went straight down. He became really depressed. He stopped eating, he stopped drinking. And within a month, he was dead. And it wasn't the cancer that killed him. It was something they did after that biopsy. They I don't know what. And I sincerely feel that there could be a case for medical malpractice. I also know there's absolutely no point whatsoever pursuing that, because they're lawyered up to the gills. You wouldn't get anywhere. It was appalling, the whole thing, but see, these people trust, without question, in in this reality, in the medical establishment, in the doctors and the nurses, in big pharma, the police, the army, the banks, the politicians, the royal families. They love it all and they trust it all. Entertainment industry. Oh, the X Factor is on. Strictly Come Dancing. Oh, and all the soap operas. They love it all. It's all, that's part of their world. They love this world. This is a world that works for them. And it's interesting because when they, often enough, not my friend obviously, but a lot of people like these OPs, they can take these big pharma medications and it works out all right for them. Soul travelers can't take this stuff. We can't take it. It makes us very, very sick. And it's like, so how do we exist? How do we live? How do we now, here, choose to be in this realm? We have two choices. We can think of ourselves as powerless victims, give in to the hate and the rage that we feel toward this mass consciousness, this hive mind, this obstructionism, the stupidity of it all. The let's do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. All we ever do, it's like life is an endless stream of problems that have to be solved, yet increasingly the problems aren't solved, of course, and they never really were solved. There's a problem, let somebody else handle it, or there's a problem, let's just put a band-aid on. Problem still persists. It's all about temporary measures that don't hold and don't stand the test of time, and everything just, like I said, everything is perennially circling the fucking drain, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. Everything is disintegrating. I did meet one lady when I was getting a coffee who was pithy and with it, and that was wonderful, and it made me feel so much better, you know, just on the ball, definitely, light in her eyes, you know, good. But that's it. The rest of it, it's like we're surrounded by just, it's non-consciousness. It is, and you can rail against it, you can attack it, you can hate it, you can do all of that, and you'll be doing yourself a massive disservice. Because, to get back to it, what now do we choose to embody here? It's really tough when you know, you wake up every day and you're like, oh, I'm still here. Oh, Groundhog fucking Day, people. Yeah, it is. Because you've done the work, you continue to do the work, and yet here you are. You don't know what to think, you don't know what to believe, you don't know who to listen to or who not to listen to, you know, all this is part of the course. It's not about listening to other people, and it's not about taking on what they say is the truth. Not even, oh, this resonates, there we go, it must be the truth. No. Because it's beyond all of that. I'm beginning to understand, I'm beginning to realise that it really is truly and utterly beyond it all. I choose, as much as I can, I choose to embody disentanglement, right? That's it. And this is a very slow, tentative process. You know, I feel as if this whole thing is meant to fade away, or everything that is hive, that is alien, that is unnatural, is meant to just be poof, gone. But for that to happen, my consciousness has to be cleared of all this hijack consciousness, all this poison, all this black goo has to be eliminated from my own being. It just has to be that way. And until that's done, I guess I'll be here. And it will be the catalyst this entire reality serves as a catalyst to purge out that poison from our being. And then it's poof, I get it now, something, I don't know. It's harder now than it's ever been before. This year has just been, it started out like with great intensity, and it ain't letting up at all. It isn't. And woo, oh, great deal of rage, and that really strong mechanism that wants me to go into that and live in there, like, oh, they're doing it to us, I hate them all, I'm a victim, we're never getting out of here, or just delusional bollocks, all kinds of weird mental nuances, when in fact my deepest intuition, my true self, talks about disentanglement, letting go, letting it go. That's the hardest thing to do, isn't it? When your whole life you've been afraid. You didn't even know you were afraid. But of course in the awakening, all the shit within you has to come up for you to see, oh wow, that was inside of me, and that was inside of me, and that was inside of me. That's what I really felt. That's what I was really programmed, how I was programmed. This trauma, that happened and had that effect on me. There is so much. It's beyond words. And you have to process all of that and be with all of that and sit with all of that. Layer after layer after layer. And all that goes on and on and on and on. Right? Wow. It's like, what the fuck? You feel like, oh, this never can end. It's just, we're just being tortured to death. But of course that isn't, well, it might be true, but I don't think it is, because this is truly, and this has become clearer to me, and especially these last few days, this truly is about the birth of the new consciousness. Of course, our genuine, our true consciousness was already there before the fall, when we were there, before we entered this insane asylum. But having been through this experience has added something to that equation. You know, when it's all alchemized, it will add something to the equation, and we will be greater than the sum of our parts. Something like that. And you know, it's whatever you choose to trust. Do you choose your true self and this intuitive gnosis that you keep getting, that just about gets you through the day? Or do you choose to trust the dark side? You know, which talks about doom, destruction, or going into the whole kind of like, oh, we're going to raise an army to destroy the organic portals, which whatnot. I mean, you know, it's okay, each to their own, and people fear off their true path all the time. I do. That's part of the journey, to lose it, go into this and do that, and then realize, oh right, yeah, no, that didn't work, so go back, do this, do whatever. It's a really winding path, and that's perfectly okay. It's perfectly alright. You know, we are in touch, we walk the same path for a bit, we lose each other, well, somebody goes there, years later you might meet up again, you might not, you might go here, you might go there. It's all in the mix. It's all in the mix. But I've been feeling this emergence, tenuous though it is, of this new consciousness, which is not at war with it anymore, which just lets go. It's the laying down of weapons, the laying down of the weapons. I could really go into the hatred of these women in that shop. I could really go into to hating a hell of a lot of people who are just like, what? But, and believe me, I've been there, but it doesn't help me in any way at all. It just makes me feel so much worse. It doesn't help me at all. I can really go into the hate and the self-hate and the self-attack and really allow that to run my show. Because that's just such a strong component to all of this, and I can see that self-hate, that weird Wetiko-esque in all these people. I see it everywhere. I see it all around me all the time. I see how people behave. I see what they think. I see how they behave. And hive consciousness is just pure Wetiko. It's just pure. It's that virus. It's that. Wow, it's mass consciousness. It's so stupid. It's unbelievably stupid, and it's just subjugated consciousness, And I see it in it's there. It's reflected. Because the external, I still feel it. It's a teacher, if you allow it to be. And it's what you do with it that matters, and But I'm so I don't want to be at war with it, and that doesn't mean that I'm going to let it destroy me. I think actually that it can destroy you if you are at war with it continually. Letting go doesn't mean that you lose discernment. I don't lose discernment. In fact, if anything, the power of love, the magic of love, has given me much higher levels of discernment. It will tell me, you need to get the fuck away from this person right now, and I'm off. It will tell me, don't get into this situation, don't go to that place, or go here, do that. It tells me to be myself, to shine my light out. And I see how they're afraid of that. I'm a pretty bold sort of person, I'm pretty like, yeah, there you go. I will not dim my light for anyone anymore. Why should I? And they can't handle it. It's a bit like you go into a room, in the dark. It's nothing. You can't see a damn thing. You switch the light on. The dark just goes like that. That's it. So that tells me something. If it's that afraid, then there must be something very potent and powerful about my consciousness and my light. So the dark side will always lie, and it will lie, and it will lie, and it will make you out to be a victim, and it will make you out to be powerless, and it will deceive you in a myriad of very, very clever ways, which is why we need to be hyper aware at all times as to what is going on, and question everything, the inner and the outer. Okay, it's very important. All mass consciousness just has to be neutralized or purged or alchemized or whatever exactly is happening to it, God knows. But because that is what keeps us in this world. It's like at the end of the Celestine prophecy, when they stood on the mandala, and the army is there with their big guns, and they can't see them, they're invisible, because they're holding that perfect consciousness, and it's powerful, and it protects them from the forces of darkness. It's like, can't see them, where are they? But one of them slips and lets in that fear or that rage or that hate, and all of a sudden he's visible. And that's it. But you don't learn that overnight, You don't learn to embody love, the consciousness of love and magic overnight, It's a lot of trial and error. Lots of error, actually. But that's alright. That's okay. Hence all these triggers, you know, all this fucking shit that's going on everywhere. It's the hardest thing to do. There are people in the past in my life who've you know, that I've come across on wherever, YouTube or books or whatever, who've made it sound so easy. Well, of course, you just trust, you just let go, and you just trust, because you have nothing to lose. And it's like, yeah, actually it isn't that simple. When you've been as traumatized as most soul travelers have, gaslit up to the fucking hilt, and then some, trust, it's just a fucking word. And it triggers a lot of people. They get very angry. How dare you suggest I trust? Fucker. I'm really familiar with that feeling. You know, it's bandied about a lot as a platitude, people, and yeah, you're damn right to get angry. Because it isn't that simple. This place is like a fucking political prison. You know, they fucking fuck with you, psyop, all the time. Trust is something that develops throughout the journey, tiny bit by tiny bit. But there's a large element of taking a leap of faith in it. And when you're ready, you start to be able to take that leap of faith. But you don't just take it in one go. It's like a tiny bit, a tiny bit, a tiny bit. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, what was it? Indiana Jones, where he's looking for the Holy Grail. And at some point, he's inside this mountain, and he's supposed to cross this massive abyss, and there's no way to do it. And he's looking left, and he's like, no, there's nothing there. But he gets this feeling to go over there, so he goes over there, and he puts his foot down, tentatively, and this path reveals itself. It's invisible. It's a bit like saran wrap. It's like, but it's like, wow, yeah. So if I just carefully put one foot in front of the other, I can cross this abyss. Now that is really what's happening here, people. We are learning to play around with this new consciousness, which is the consciousness of love, of magic. Or so I feel it. It's terrifying, really, because you think, well, what if I keep doing this and then all the bad shit does continue to happen and life continues to beat the crap out of me? Then what? What will I do then? Better just go with the old and, yeah, I'm a victim, I'm powerless, I hate myself, yeah, better stay there, because at least I won't be disappointed. I'm not going to take that leap of faith because it's only going to stab me in the back. That's what it wants, people, that's what it wants. But I know the power of those thoughts, obviously. That's what I'm going through. It's very difficult. So I choose over and over again. This is a choice we make again and again and again. And some of us are in really dire circumstances. I know that. It's even harder then. But in a sense, that is the best time to make those types of choices. To say, you know what? I am going to choose the power of love, the magic of love right now. I am going to choose it, regardless. And we'll see what, we'll let the chips fall where they fucking may, right? In fact, I'm just going to get my little blue book, because I had a good quote. Yes. And my cup of tea. me and my cup of tea. Me and my cup of tea. So, yeah, it's something Spock said, because I've been watching the Star Trek films. And he says, I think it's my journey, my quest, my adventure. So let the chips fall where they may. And I thought, yeah, fuck it, right? Because it is. It's my consciousness. It's my experience. This is my quest. And I can choose to stick with the resistance and that mass consciousness of, or I can say, now fuck this shit, I'm taking a leap of faith. And taking a leap of faith and allowing that gnosis to come in of, actually you don't have to be at war with the environment, you can learn lessons from it, you can make it be something that can actually show you what is happening within you, that can trigger your shit to come up, so that you can clear it out, you can feel that hate, you can feel that rage, you can feel that trauma, you can see that programming, you can have that awakening going on within you, you can process all of that without chucking it out there or putting it onto other people. You don't have to do that. You can do that at home or in nature. You can just work through that. And then, wow, yes, another layer of awakening, another layer of gnosis, another expansion of your consciousness, another clearing and expansion of your perception happens. And then, yeah, you go back in the shit, something else happens, and yes, there's more clearing done. But you're not stuck on the same level. You're going up and up and up. This new consciousness is worth fighting for. It's worth, well, fighting, actually, you know what, it isn't even about fighting, it's a shitload more about enduring, actually. Because the whole idea of, oh, we're warriors, that doesn't even make so much sense to me anymore. That's beginning to fade away. It's much more about being a mystic. It's not about being at war, because being at war means you're against something. And it's not about being against anything at all. It really isn't. There's a lot of shit, you know, we don't like, because we know, our soul knows this is wrong. Mass consciousness, the stupidity of it all, the fucking crap out there, all of that is wrong. We know that. But giving it our attention in a hateful way, and for it to come back to us, making us feel powerless. Evil is so big and powerful, look what is happening, I hate you. This is why we hate so much. This is why we have that resistance that is going on. Because deep down within ourselves we fear that evil is more powerful than us. That mass consciousness is more powerful than our own light. That is why we react that way. But there's people that just don't want to, no, that's not true. I'm a warrior and I'm going to fight those motherfuckers. I'm going to fucking burn them all to death and I'm going to chop their heads out. I'm going to sort this shit out. But it's not. It's a fear reaction. Deep down you feel that you're weak and that evil's going to devour you. It's a fear reaction. That's why people in the streets are getting so angry now. There's so much volatility about. It's just like, whoa, man, oh man, you've got to be so careful what you say to people. Because it's all coming up, that fear, that survival, that nervous system, fight or flight thing. It's interesting because this woman I know and her daughter, 8-year-old daughter, and goes to this after school play thing, and it's called Adrenaline. Man, oh man, talk about fucking programming. Adrenaline and cortisol are produced by your nervous system, and it's not something that kids should really be feeling at all. But anyway, there we go, right? We know the monstrosity that this world is, and the hijack and the manipulation and the filth and the stupidity of the slaves going along with it and all of that, and we can, you know, hurl all the abuse in the world and we can resist it and hate it and but ultimately the reason we react that way is because we see it, and the first reaction is one of fear. It is big, it's bad, it's overwhelming. I'm gonna fight this motherfucker because I'm afraid that it's going to devour me. But I see something else. I see the fear in the hive. I see the fear of that light that we carry within us, people. That tells me that our consciousness is potent and powerful. That tells me that potent and powerful consciousness can choose the way of love. And that by choosing that and allowing that to be born now, or rather reborn, the rebirth of that consciousness, that reset will occur. Exactly what that is or how that is, I do not know. I know that there's no point in thinking, oh, we must change the world. No, don't worry about changing the world, people. Don't worry about voting, don't worry about protesting, don't worry about being a fucking eco-warrior. Don't worry about any of that shit. Just focus on your consciousness and the liberation and cleansing thereof, because that's where it's at, people, and that's it. The power of love, the magic of love. It's the truth, the true consciousness, the living well, the Holy Grail. That's it, that's what it's all about. This entire fucking experience, this whole quest, is all about that. We've lost it all in order to regain it all and then some, to add something unique to the equation. So when we come out the other end, we will be more than we have ever been. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, I think I'll call it a day. They've been going for long enough. But, oh yeah, and then this was interesting. Something happens, right? You know, when we have a lot of these moments where we're just there going, no, it's never going to end, it's never going to end, it's never going to end, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, you know, panic, error. And then it's somebody I know has got a shop, and it's called Escapology, and I got this notion to look up that word, so I put Escapology into my computer, and it said escape from the mundane, escaping the mundane. And I was like, yeah, that's about right, because you know the synchronicity is big now. I dreamt about a white frog. It was a weird dream because I was in a variety of different cars and I was having to ask the driver to stop the car so I could puke my guts up, and there was all this black, believe it or not, black phlegm coming up, and it was like pretty disgusting. And then I'd get into another car and there'd be another driver and I'd be like, right, you have to stop the car, goes, you know, like that. And after all that, we stopped and there was this green field and there was a great big white frog sat there, ribbit, smiling at me. That was amazing. And then I walked into that shop which said OPs in there, like grr, grr, you know, and guess what was there? There was this big white ceramic frog right there on the table, and I'm like, you know, couldn't make that shit up. So on that note, I will leave you. The birth of the new consciousness, people. We lay down our weapons. Seems counterintuitive, but when you really get it, you'll understand that it is the way. Because you see, it's only fear that makes us react that way. But when we realize our consciousness is fucking powerful, we know this because the hive is frightened of it, then hey, toodaloo.